Hey, what's going on, everybody? You guessed it, another mock draft. This is mock draft number 5. Gonna start keeping track of these a little bit better than I have been. It might matter when we get up to mock draft number 30 or 40, right? And that's probably where we're headed. So this is the premise for this draft. We got to start laying out some guidelines, the groundwork for what's going to shape this particular mock draft. These are all basically science experiments, and we need some, what are the variables going into this? Well, first of all, Matthew Stafford is back with the Rams in this mock draft. Now, there's still some uncertainty whether he's going to be back for the 2026 season. This is kind of getting to be a broken record scenario. I think the Rams might need to start considering they need their next quarterback, even though Matthew Stafford is back. Left tackle Alaric Jackson is still on the open market, but it seems like he's leaning towards the Rams, has not signed on with any other team, and indications are he'll be back, but no sure thing. Cooper Kupp has been released with a June 1st designation. Tyler Higbee is still with the Rams, but I think there's a little bit of a hole there. And I think the Rams still need a cornerback. Now, the linebacker situation, they have added a linebacker, an unnamed linebacker for this experiment, and they have also added an unnamed defensive tackle, someone to hold down the middle, whether it be Bobby Brown or someone similar. So a little bit less urgency as far as nose tackle and linebacker go. Tackle, left tackle might need somebody there, right? So let's get into this and see how this goes. And my other approach on this draft is I am not going to seek trades, but I'll answer the phone, and I would love to move back into the second round. We'll see if something like that pops up, the opportunity to do that. Let's get this going. And again, what we're looking for in that first round, if we stay at 26, wide receiver, cornerback, left tackle, we'll see how it goes. Let's kick this off. And I got this set on medium speed, and I have a feeling we'll get some. We're definitely going to get some trade offers. Whether we're going to get something that really looks like a great opportunity. This is not a great draft. After you get past the 6, 7 guys, top 6 or 7, there's a probably, what are they saying, about 40 second rounders, basically. So the Rams may be stuck with, 26 is not necessarily a bad place to be, right? If there's not much difference between 26 and 10, why move up? And let's see, the Rams are on the clock. We did not get a trade offer. That's really surprising. Luther Burden is there. I selected him in a previous draft. I'm going to change things up a little bit. I've picked Colston Loveland. I've picked Luther Burden. I don't think Burden's going to be there at number 26, so I'm going to pass on him. Now let's see what left tackles are there. Potential tackles now. Ursary, I saw him mocked to the Rams. I think it was Vinny Ayers. I talked about that on a previous pod. I think it's a little early for him. The wide receivers, Burden. I would jump all over Burden if he was there. He's not going to be there, so I'm going to pass on him. But we do have Egbuka and this Eliak Ayamaner, probably butchering that name. He's a guy that was mocked. I forget who mocked him to the Rams, and I wasn't really that aware of him. And if you read his bio, it says Rams wide receiver all over it. Now the question is, if Sean McVay really is going to diversify this offense, maybe he goes in a different direction at the wide receiver position. But Ayamaner, he's not going to be there in the third round. But Egbuka is, obviously a more highly valued wide receiver, and is going to bring something a little bit different to this offense. And the cornerbacks, Benjamin Morris, it's right about where he should get drafted. And Azrae Thomas is the guy that Jared Verse has been lobbying for. Jared Verse, gotta love that guy. But let's just go back to the big list here. I'm going to ignore the possibility that Burden's available, and I'm going to go ahead and draft Egbuka. And just have to wait for the third round for our next picks, and maybe we can stack add a few extra picks with a trade in the third round. We'll see. So the Ohio State wide receiver is the pick, and I know Luther Burden would be the better pick there, but trying to be somewhat realistic here, I think if you ran this mock draft 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, he would be gone. He will not be there for the Rams at number 26. I can almost guarantee it. Now, Jackson Dart, if I could get into the second round, it's obviously too late. I could stop this and make some phone calls. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick to my guidelines here. But if someone had offered a trade for the ability to, well, I'll give you an example. I was practicing with this on another mock draft database simulator, and I was able to drop in, made a trade with the Chiefs and ended up with the 32nd and 64th pick. And in that scenario, you might be able to get away with taking Jackson Dart at 32 and coming back and get a wide receiver, tight end, cornerback at number 64. But didn't happen. There are a couple of other quarterbacks that we should be thinking about here. And well, let's look at the quarterbacks. We're up at number 90 overall. And the one that we should be talking about is Kyle McCord. It's still a little early for him, though. I think if you're looking for your next quarterback, 1 year with Matthew Stafford would be ideal. Now, the left tackle situation, we can always skip on the left tackle here and just throw some extra money at Alaric Jackson. He'll have a little bit of leverage if we don't draft one. Emory Jones out of LSU. I'm going to try not to draft anybody I've already mocked to the Rams, and I've mocked Emory Jones and Ernest Green to the Rams. Ajani Cornelius, I might have mocked him to the Rams as well. But let's look at the cornerbacks, and I'm going to try to balance this between offense and defense. I think both units need some help. I think the offense needs skill position guys. The defense needs a sprinkling of guys, nose tackle, linebacker, cornerback. We're okay at edge and safety, but Zy Alexander at number 96 there, you say it's a little early for him. Yeah, but this is my issue with, drafting the best player available. I 100% agree with that, but oftentimes it's in the noise. You're talking about your 96th and your 90th ranked player, how much really separates them. And when it's that close, if you don't have that much fidelity on rating these players, you take the one that fits a need. And that's why I am going to take the cornerback, Zy Alexander. And I like our cornerback group. I really do. I just don't think certainly doesn't wow me. You watch the Eagles in the Super Bowl, the work their cornerbacks do. The Rams cornerbacks are, they're good, but they're not shut down corners. None of them are going to get named to a Pro Bowl anytime soon, unless Quentin Lake, if you want to call him a cornerback. They call him a safety. He's a little bit of everything, right? But that's my argument for drafting the 96th ranked player at number 90 there. Now we do have a trade offer. We could pick up 2 4th rounds and a 6th round, but we give up this 3rd rounder. And, I'm not necessarily keen on adding a bunch of picks in this draft. We've added so much youth over the last 2 years. We have so many players coming back, 1st and 2nd year guys. I want as many quality guys as possible. If I was picking up an extra pick here, I might consider it. But moving down, actually really moving down 6 spots, aren't we? Because this is the comp pick for Raheem Morris. So it's at the end of the 3rd round. You know what? I'm actually going to go, let's see if there's any other trades available here. This is moving down. I think the first offer was a little bit better. To 106 and 125 versus 109 and 210. I'm going to go ahead and take this, dropping down 6 spots and adding a 4th rounder and another 6th rounder. Now, we don't have a 5th rounder. I wish one of these was a 5th rounder, but going to accept this trade. And I'm not, if I broke my rules and actually got on the phone, I would try to trade some of these picks and get back up into the 5th round. But I'll go ahead and accept this, and we're going to drop down to 106. But we have the 106th, 125, and 126. So we have a lot of ammo. I'm not going to add any more picks. Ideally, what I would do here is I package some picks and move up into the 5th round. But anyway, so I have a wide receiver and a cornerback. Let's look at the tackles on the board now. In the 4th round, another tackle from Wisconsin. Are we done with Wisconsin offensive lineman Anthony Belton out of North Carolina State? I don't really know much about him at this point, and I don't want to bore you with searches for draft profiles. Holland Pierce out of Rutgers is an interesting prospect. I saw some other content creators recommending him for the Rams, but I think we could get him a little bit later. Let's keep Holland Pierce on our radar, and Paul Wally would be really happy about that. He's just loves those Rutgers Scarlet Knights, is it? Okay, let's go back to all here. We got to add some players here. Let's see, what else did we want to add here? Let's look at the tight ends. It's a pretty strong tight end group, and we got Mason Taylor and Gunnar Helm. And Paul did a tight end evaluation. It's been almost a month now, and Mason Taylor and Gunnar Helm were two guys on his radar. I'm going to go ahead and grab Mason Taylor here. It seems like it's really good value. And is he a game changer? Probably not. The guy I would love to add is the Harold Fanning Jr. Is that his name? God, I can't remember his name. Fanning Jr. Let's go look at the tight ends, and I'll show you the guys. Harold Fanning Jr. My apologies. He's a guy that 230-pound tight end that can block and is a beast in the passing game. More trades here. There were some options to get into the 5th round, but we're just loaded up on too many picks already. But Mason Taylor's our new tight end. Hunter Long probably moving on. Can't blame him. Tyler Higbee, his career is winding down. So I don't think we have a game changer at the tight end position, but we have a pretty good prospect in Mason Taylor. Okay, Chris Paul, the linebacker. You know, I don't know if I'm the only one that's noticed this. How many players coming through the draft in recent years are maybe named after NBA guys? Chris Paul, another one. There's a Kobe Bryant in this draft, a cornerback at Kansas or Kansas State. But a linebacker, adding a linebacker would it'd be a smart move at this point, given I feel like our defense is so close to being elite, and we needed a cornerback. Added one here. We need to, be better against the run, nose tackle, and then we need to improve our linebacking core. And what do we have here? We have a wide receiver and a tight end. Let's go back. Let's do this. We're either going to do a quarterback or a linebacker. How about that? Is our guy still there? Kyle McCord is still there. I'm not passing up on him. Quarterbacks are a little bit more valuable than linebackers, aren't they? We're drafting Kyle McCord, and this is a guy that can stay in the pocket and make plays all over the field. He's got a little bit of mobility too, big-time arm talent. Kyle McCord is our next quarterback. If Matthew Stafford wants to move on in 2026, no more playing games, sayonara, Matthew Stafford. It's Kyle McCord's team. So we're at 126, back-to-back pick. Should have considered that. I got to have either one of these. I got to have the linebacker and the quarterback. Made it like it was a big decision, quarterback or linebacker. Grab them both. So we split it up evenly here. No, we haven't. We have a wide receiver, a tight end, and a quarterback, and then a cornerback and linebacker. And where are we at here? Watch these picks fly off the board here. And we probably should consider offensive tackle at 184 overall. Are you going to get your next starting left tackle, though? Maybe you don't bother. Need to add some depth, though. Rob Havenstein getting up there in years. So I don't know, man. It's a tough decision when you get into these rounds. I don't know what these general managers' positions are. If they're looking for kind of like taking flyers on guys that could, you know, sneaky good picks, guys that are boom or bust type players, or do you really take a guy that's your 14th ranked offensive tackle, and if he makes the team, he's got really no shot at being an impact starter. Um, so yeah, there's that. So let's see, what do we got here? We have so far a wide receiver, quarterback, and tight end. We have a linebacker and a cornerback. I still think we got to go trenches here. One of the trenches. Let's see who's available on the defensive line. Ty Hamilton. Ty Hamilton just keeps on popping up on my draft boards. And he's a tad undersized, but would really be a quality player to add to this defensive line. And let's go look at the offensive line. I think Alaric Jackson's leverage is going through the roof here as we keep on taking everything except offensive tackles. There's Kobe Bryant, the second best player available here, and he is indeed out of Kansas. But I am going to go, and you know what? You can make a strong argument for going two wide receivers here, but Nick Nash, love that guy. I think we know the Rams can find a decent, an impact, a contributor at the wide receiver position late in the draft. Who that is, you can only guess. But I'm going to come back here and I am going to take, now I'm going to go against what I said here. I lied to you. I have drafted Ty Hamilton before in previous mocks, and I am drafting him again. Ty Hamilton, once again, is a Los Angeles Ram. Okay, getting a lot of A's here. For what that is worth, I could drop down 2 picks and add a 7th. Just getting silly here. We got to make some picks. We got almost too many guys here. But, Les Snead does take that approach, I think. You draft 14 guys, you're gonna miss on 4 or 5 of them. And as you add picks, you just got a higher percentage you're going to hit on some of them. That's what I'm trying to say very awkwardly. So we have the defensive line and cornerback and linebacker. I really like the guys we've added on defense. Come to think of it, if Kyle McCord comes through and Mason Taylor can establish himself as a true NFL tight end, this could end up being a really good draft. But let's take a step back here. What do we need? I look at this list I identified early on. Again, I said we could go 2 wide receivers very easily. I didn't talk about, before we got into this, what the Rams are doing with Tyler Johnson, Demarcus Robinson, and Tutu Atwell. I think Demarcus is the most likely one to come back. But let's see what wide receivers. And Nick Nash is still there. Wow. I'm gonna break a rule again. I'm gonna take Nick Nash. If you don't know about him, do a little Googling on Nick Nash. You'll like what you read. Quite a talent, a fast rising talent, a guy that came out of nowhere and is suddenly on a lot of teams' draft boards. Could go much earlier than that, but he'll probably get overdrafted. I think the 6th round is probably where he belongs, but he'll be an easy guy some teams fall in love with. Kind of a boomer bust type player. He could wash out completely, end up on the practice squad, or he could be the next number 3 wide receiver that contributes every Sunday for you. Okay, where are we at? We have 2 picks left, 203 and 204 back to back. And am I missing anything here? I'm missing a left tackle. I have to go offensive tackle with one of these guys. And Trey Wedig is a prospect to keep your eye on. Jack Nelson, I'm not sure if he's a left tackle prospect, but could we go 20 straight years with a Wisconsin right tackle? Why not? Let's do it. Jack Nelson is no Logan Bruss. More Rob Havenstein, we hope. Okay, what do we got? We got our last pick here of the draft, and we can really just, this is where you maybe just go the best player available. And look at that. I forgot about running back. Rams draft a running back every year, and we're picking Trevor out of Georgia. I avoid saying his last name because I always butcher that as well. But he's a guy that, if the Rams are going to draft a running back, I'd like them to draft a guy that's a little bit different, more of a change of pace, bring something a little bit different to the table. And I think that's what they're going to do. They have two doppelgangers, basically, Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. Let's bring in someone a little bit different. And that's our last pick of the draft. And they're going to give me a good grade on that. So there you have it. Let's let this finish and we'll walk through all these picks. I think it's a pretty good draft, and I tried to be realistic about it. Do I really think the Rams are going to draft? How many guys do I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9 players. That's what they had last year, right? I think. So it could happen. I would prefer that they took the opposite approach what I did and package picks and move up. But this is this is just another science experiment. I'm not predicting what the Rams would do, just playing around with different approaches and see how they turn out. And that's what we're doing here. We're doing on this draft. We'll let this wind down and we'll let it show our final results here. But I can start walking you through it. Oh, here we go. Loading the draft results for us. Mock draft number 5 for our Los Angeles Rams. And my picks, we started with the wide receiver from out of Ohio State, number 26 overall, Emeka Egbuka. And then we went with the cornerback, Zy Alexander out of LSU. Kind of sticking to the theme here. I identified 4 positions, right? And I got the next position, Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU. We traded down there, picked up an extra pick, and then at 125 and 126, back-to-back, Kyle McCord. I think you're going to like him, quarterback out of Syracuse. And then the linebacker, after spending about 14 years in the NBA, Chris Paul is joining the Rams, a linebacker out of Mississippi. And sorry, I'm getting a little loosey-goosey here. And then 184 overall, defensive lineman Ty Hamilton out of Ohio State. And then wide receiver Nick Nash out of San Jose State. That was the only pick that they sort of kind of didn't like. At 192 overall, that's fine. You can bang on me for that. And then I finally got to offensive tackle there at number 203 overall, Jack Nelson out of Wisconsin. And then the running back out of Georgia, Trevor Etienne. Did I say that right? Probably not. You know who I'm talking about, though. It's right there in front of you. The Georgia running back, A+ for that one. I think I hit everything right. And no interior offensive lineman. I'm okay with that. No safeties. Okay with that. We got a linebacker. We got a cornerback, a couple wide receivers, a pretty flashy running back, a quarterback that could be very, very good. A couple wide receivers. I think I hit all the spots here. Let me know what you think. And by the way, we've been doing our Ram Fan Rap sessions, and Ernesto came back for the second time last week. And then I have 2 other folks that want to join me. If you want to join me and I'll drive and you pick on a mock draft, let me know. And then they can all point at you and make fun of your picks instead of me. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully you kind of know what you're doing a little bit if you're going to be making these picks. But I know a lot of you do. A lot of you Ram fans do your homework. Hey, we could limit it to just the first 3 or 4 rounds. We could make trades. Whatever you want to do, we can figure it out. Send me an email at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And please subscribe, like these videos. We really appreciate it. That's all I got. Mock draft number 5 in the books. I'm going to give myself an A+. How about that? I made the picks. I better like them, right? And I'll come back in a couple of days and give you a little bit more feedback on a couple of players here that I'm not fully versed on, Jack Nelson being the primary one. And that's it. Thanks a lot. Out here from Rams Up.